They're creatures of grace and power. Earth's most iconic animals. Embodying all the beauty of the wild. But big cats don't always stay in the wild. Sometimes they invade our space, take what's ours, and even attack us. Our admiration for these animals turns to fear, hatred, and revenge. But is it only the cats that are to blame? In India, the cycle of conflict between humans and big cats is more volatile than anywhere else. It's a country developing fast, crowded with over 1 billion people with little free space left. It's also the last stronghold for some of the world's primeval hunters. Indian leopards, Bengal tigers, and Asiatic lions. How do we protect ourselves from them while saving them from us? 3 unique stories from across India go right to the heart of the struggle. There are face-to-face encounters and unlikely friendships.
Unbelievable that what a bond you have with a leopard.
Ancient ties between man and beast, and new hope for protecting people and our most magnificent predators. With big cats in peril everywhere, the stakes have never been higher. It's up to India to find new answers and new visionaries, while the world watches. Across India, in the dead of night, it happens. A nocturnal hunter creeps on silent paws into the human world. It strikes, robbing a shepherd of his main livelihood, right in the middle of the apparent safety of a village. As dawn breaks, the villagers already know the culprit. It's the most notorious big cat in the country. the Indian leopard. Lions and tigers may be more famous, but leopards kill more livestock and more people than the other two combined. That's because there are a lot more of them. More than 11,000 leopards live across India. But their numbers aren't the real problem. Ours are. More than 1.2 billion people live in India, 3 times the population of the United States, in a country 1/3 the size. In the span of one human lifetime, India's population has tripled. Yet 2/3 of all Indians still live rural lives. People have pushed into the cat's territory. The herds of antelope and deer that leopards once hunted are gone now to make way for grazing livestock, leaving leopards tight on space and short on food. They're naturally elusive and would rather stay away from people. But hunger drives them toward us. The spotted cats have always been opportunists. In 21st century India, what's available now is domestic dogs, goats, and sheep. And occasionally, the most vulnerable of humans. The skills they evolved to hunt deer in the scrubland still serve them well. They move as silently as ghosts, and with low light vision 7 times better than ours, they can creep right into a village. Sometimes we catch them in the act, surprising them and us. A terrified leopard is a deadly thing. In a southern Indian village, this leopard has fallen into the communal well. Now forestry officials try to coax it into a net without harming it. It will join a restless crew of other problem cats that have been trapped in villages and fields. The usual solution is to release them far from people. But leopards have a knack for remembering and returning to their home territory. Often the cat comes back to where the trouble started, or another leopard takes its place. Either way, it doesn't solve the problem. Frustrated villagers take matters into their own hands. There's violence. And often, the cat pays with its life. Across most of India, humans and leopards are locked in a cycle of temptation, anger, and retribution. But not everywhere. One small community has stopped fighting back. It's just outside the town of Bera, in the state of Rajasthan, northern India. The shepherds who live here are Rabari, an ancient Hindu tribe. They're traditionally nomadic, with origins near Afghanistan. Today, many are semi-settled, moving between local grasslands and doing some farming. In this arid country, growing anything is a challenge. A family's livelihood largely depends on a few dozen cows and goats. Rabari herdsmen gather up thorny branches and stack them into makeshift walls. It offers little defense against the predator that's hiding right next door, just out of view. From their rocky lookouts, leopards once stalked black buck and Indian gazelles. But that prey is gone. Now they set their sights on the Rabari's livestock. No one knows exactly how many leopards lurk among Bera's hills. Some say it's about a dozen. Others believe it's close to 40. It's easy for them to keep their numbers a secret. Their home is a stronghold forged of 900-million-year-old granite. Over the eons, it's eroded into a maze of caves and tunnels. Here, a leopard can move unseen. People may pass just inches away without ever knowing how close they are to danger. While the cats are able to creep right up to pastures, corrals, and homes. And every day, shepherds must take their livestock to fresh grazing land. A leopard may spend hours watching a target, like a young goat that lags behind the rest of the herd. Then, when the moment is right, it strikes. Often, the cat makes a kill, and then the shepherd scares it away. The people know it will come back after dark, looking for its meal. In other parts of India, this carcass would be poisoned and left out, bringing a slow death to the leopard that eats it. But here, in Bera, that doesn't happen. No cat will be poisoned. No revenge taken. Why are things different in Bera? It all goes back to one man, one special cat, and a very surprising relationship. Across an increasingly crowded Indian countryside, wild leopards roam next door to people. With their natural prey vanishing, they're forced to hunt what's available: domestic animals. In the arid hills around Bera Rajasthan, leopards look down on about 10,000 shepherds and their livestock. Most families here live hand to mouth. Losing a goat or calf is like losing gold. It could take a year of savings to afford another. For years, the people of Bera retaliated and killed the spotted cats. But that all changed when Devi Singh got involved. Devi's a patriarch of one of the oldest and most influential families in Rajasthan. He owns much of this land. And he knows this country and its local leopards better than anyone.
Leopards have always been here. Though this is not forest, this is all agricultural land, revenue land. But they have been living here since my great-grandfather's time and maybe even earlier.
For most of Devi's life, he stood on the sidelines as herdsmen took their revenge on leopards. Until he met a very special cat, a leopardess he called Zara.
Aao, Zara.
For 12 years, Devi filmed hundreds of encounters with Zara. It's very strange for a leopard to approach people, but Zara was different. She was curious.
Zara was born in these hills, and I saw her as a young cub. For a female, she was very, very bold. She was not scared of anyone.
Back then, Devi hadn't begun to appreciate his local leopards. But he took a liking to Zara, and he feared that she would be poisoned too. To keep her away from livestock and people, he began bringing her dead goats from the butcher shop.
आओ Zara.
I used to call out her name, Zara, and she came running down, wagging her tail like a dog would.
आओ Zara.
It is unbelievable that what a bond you have with a leopard.
Zara began to wait for Devi in the same spot each day.
Zara.
The moment she heard my vehicle, she recognized the sound of my vehicle. She would pop out. And there she was sitting in front of her.
Devi's affection for her grew.
You see, it is very thrilling when you have a bond with a wild animal.
Zara.
And leopards are very shy, I know, and they're very elusive. But to get her used to this, and you have to work on it to get that bond with an animal.
Over the 12 years, Devi watched as Zara raised 5 litters of cubs. She even allowed her young ones to eat and play in full view.
I learned a lot from Zara. The way she used to bring up her cubs, the way she used to play with them, and she never minded me being there. I mean, I've seen Zara and her cubs playing at about 40 feet away from me, with no fear at all.
Devi's protection made sure Zara would survive. But Bera's other leopards were still being killed. The shepherds were still angry and afraid.
मैं देखी हो आई थी 8-9 दफे लगी
अटैच बैठो तो हैंग गांव में सुनो बेचारे घर में पड़े
सब सुनो के हम कोई हैंग हो जपीन कोई नहीं जागता
हां
रे दीवा ही हैंग बंद वे पण टाइम रा आज को पड़े पण टाइम रे पास दागोल पे करो तो पासो आवे तो बे पण पासो बेर जपी जे पासो आवे
से देखबो करो
देखबो कर एक दादा वो पहला निबड़ो है
हां
बड़े टोड़ो डाई सावी
हां
ये पजाती बे 3 दाड़ा जीवी मोती मारा धुणी गयो बसी
कतला दाड़ा पहली
शेयर पोस्ट पे
4-5 दाड़ा ले कौन से गांव में आबो करे
आओ एक और रे बे सीधरा आवे एक तो बसियो वाला आवे
हां
ने हाथी 3 बसी आवे
3 बच्चे आवे
हां बे बसी आवे ने तीजो वो
हां
एक एकलो ज आवे वो भूरो
हां
In retaliation, shepherds were poisoning a leopard almost every month.
And they actually run after the animal and make him drop it. Once a leopard drops a goat or sheep, anything, then they spray pesticides on it. The animal comes back, he eats it and he suffers and dies. It's not an instant death, it's a suffering.
Bera's big cats didn't stand a chance against poison.
8 to 10 leopards are poisoned every year. You have got to do something about this. Otherwise, there will be no leopards left. I mean, losing 8 to 10 leopards a year, in time to come, the game will be over.
Devi had helped Zara survive. Now, he had to do something for the others. In Rajasthan, India, humans have encroached into leopard territory, taking out their natural prey and leaving leopards no choice but to prey on livestock. People became angry and afraid, and leopards were being poisoned. Local landowner Devi Singh was determined to break that cycle. Inspired by his new friend, a curious leopardess he called Zara, Devi decided to take action and mend the relationship between leopards and local people. There was no way to stop leopards from taking dogs and livestock. They had little else to eat. He had to find a way to stop people from fighting back. Today, Devi makes the rounds from family to family, checking to see if anyone's lost an animal.
Now, whenever there's a kill made by a leopard, they come to me. We go and check the kill, whether it's a genuine leopard kill or not. What is leopard? They come from me.
This shepherd lost one goat, and another was injured. When a goat dies, Devi pays up. For 7,000 rupees, around $100 US, the herder can replace his goat. It's not much for a landowner like Devi, but for a family living hand to mouth, it's a lifesaver.
कूदन बकरी माता पड़ी हो जरा मोर देखियो का हाड़ हाड़ किसका बकरा सब थोड़ी बहुत दाइन मार पड़ी बकरी है जी आप तो ये ठोकना हटे हां आप तो मणियो सुगन सीधी पाड़ी बाटा मारा इतना में दाखल की दी को नहीं गो.
This is where the leopard caught this goat. It was oozing, so they cauterized the wound because then the blood stops, and they do it with a piece of charcoal. They just dab it here. And luckily they were able to save this animal. But they do lose a lot of sheep and goat.
Talking to the villagers, Devi gets a better picture of where and how often these leopards strike.
Ada hudo da mo ate. Ada hudo da mo.
हाँ.
Ada जी कूलिंग पड़ी हो बाड़ा में. then मैं सावी. then मैं mo टाकर की दे क्या? जब अटे बिन पासा कूलिंग पे जाइए.
Even if the kill wasn't a guaranteed leopard attack, Devi still pays.
A lot of times, a leopard runs off with the carcass. After all, a leopard is a clever animal. So it was not that every time the carcass was found. But then I had to trust what my people said.
Once Devi started compensating shepherds, leopard poisoning stopped in Bera.
The leopards are happy, the shepherds are happy, and I'm happy.
As another night closes in, the leopards perch on their rocks and scan their territory. They seem to know they have little to fear from humans now. Their living situation is more relaxed, so they're more relaxed and less secretive. Bera's leopards are now among the most visible big cats in India. As a result, they're getting famous, and that's the real ticket to their survival. Dawn brings new visitors to the hills. Not shepherds, a leopard safari operated by Devi. It's easier to get a leopard photo here than just about anywhere else in India.
In the olden days, shooting was a sport. These leopards were shot down. But today I'm very happy that they are shot, but with a camera. The number of leopards have started going up. We are seeing more females with cubs, And Bera is getting more and more popular. A lot of wildlife photographers are coming here. Tourism is picking up and it is helping us to keep our leopards.
Success is bittersweet. Zara no longer answers Devi's call.
The last I saw Zara was in November, and now it's almost a year. I've checked up all the other hills, but there are no signs of Zara. I don't know whether she's dead or she's alive. I would be very happy if she comes back.
The trusting leopardess was probably 13 years old when Devi last saw her. Wild leopards seldom live past 15, so it is unlikely she will return. But with 5 litters to her credit, some of these leopards are surely her cubs. Perhaps memories of playing beside their mother next to Devi's jeep have made them tolerant of